Hey guys, my name is Dan Bates. I am from South Jersey, and a week ago I've decided to embark on a life-changing journey. A little bit of history. I'm 46 years old. I've been working pretty physical labor since I've been 16. Numerous sports injuries: football, hockey, wrestling. Car accidents, work injuries. I've taken a few substantial falls from some substantial heights. Beat up and battered. 46. I stand about 6'4", 1/4". I used to be 6'5", but some spinal compression has kind of taken that away. I currently stand before you at 411 pounds. As 411 pounds, praise God, I think I'm in better health than people who weigh, some people I know that weigh half as much as I do. I think it's because of my physical labor, my strength. But just the same, 411, I used to carry it much different than I've begun carrying it now. And it certainly is straining on my body. It's starting to strain on my joints. Just a quick rundown. I have broken my neck once. It was a compression fracture, and because I have two slowly but more and more rapidly deteriorating vertebrae in my neck and two herniated discs. I recently have slipped the disc in my mid-back. I guess I haven't got official professional word, but I guess it's severe enough that the actual vertebrae itself kind of clunks around different ways I move and turn. I can feel it clunking and popping and send spikes down my body. I have deterioration of my discs in my lower back with three herniated, deteriorated vertebrae with three herniated discs in my lower back. Both hips are getting just more and more stiff and tight and grinding. The left hip, for about 8 months, I physically couldn't even lay on my left side. I had trouble walking. I have knee surgeries on both knees. I have no meniscus left in either knee at this point. It's bone on bone. And at the time, they did this. They said, well, we're just trying to buy you 5 more years. We don't like to do knee replacements if you're a certain age, if you're below a certain age. Well, I'm already past 5 on the one, and I'm approaching 5 on the other. Blown out ankles several times in my life. My right ankle I have severely sprained or broken 8 times. The left ankle 4. All the little metatarsals in my feet are just creaky and poppy. Riddled with arthritis. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease several years ago, and all my joints are just full of arthritis. So my daily existence level of pain from 1 to 10 is probably around 6 to 7. Some days are higher, very seldom lower. I think my tolerance for it is such that I just kind of work through it for so long, I don't even realize how much pain I'm in half the time until I move funny or somebody touches me in a certain spot, and then it's like through the ceiling. Type 2 diabetic as of about 8 years ago. My A1C went all the way up as high as 10.8, and through my hard work and exercise, I actually got it down to 6.7, 6.6. I actually was working with personal trainers who would have me, the one guy would work on endurance, the other guy would work on strength building. Well, the guy that worked on strength building was a maniac, and he was having me do inverted sit-ups while holding a 100-pound dumbbell. And being the guy I am, being all the sports training I've had, I just pushed through it. And now when I go to do a sit-up, it looks like I'm giving birth to an alien baby. From about here to here, jettisoned straight out like a loaf of bread, where my abdominals have completely pulled apart and separated from the intense training I was enduring. I knew I was hurting at the time, really didn't realize the damage I was doing. And it just got worse and worse until it basically stretched the whole area and it can't rip open anymore. So that ended my training. So with my joint pain and with all the stuff I'm going through, working out has become a very difficult chore for me. I have a lovely wife, and I have a 14-year-old daughter. And nothing scares me more than the thought of not being here to see them have a good life, to walk my daughter down the aisle, to retire somewhere nice with my wife and live out our golden years together. Nothing scares me more than that. Now, I've known about DDP for a long time. I was a professional wrestling fan. I even dabbled in the sport. Locally here in South Jersey, we had a wrestling school. And I've always been a wrestling fan. But I've also known the truth of professional wrestling. But just because something may be choreographed, and actually it isn't even choreographed, it's mostly improvisation. You have kind of a general idea what's happening, and then you go in the ring and you do the work that you're supposed to do, and it all works out the way it's supposed to, typically. But there's really nothing fake about pro wrestling. When you get hit in the head with a chair, you're getting hit in the head with a chair, and when you fall off the top rope onto a concrete mat, you're falling off a concrete rope, or from a top rope onto a concrete floor with a little thin mat on it. These guys have some of the worst injuries than any sports athletes out there. I have met several professional wrestlers in my life. I know a few personally. They live in my area. And King Kong Bundy, for instance. So you fans of wrestling may remember King Kong Bundy. He lives 3 blocks from my house. I've known him most of my life. He grew up in this area. His whole family's in this area. They're teachers and principals and everything else. And you know, here's a guy, even when he was in his prime, I would see him hobbling around with a cane. The point is, for those of you that don't know, maybe I'm the messenger for you today. Diamond Dallas Page, a wrestler by the name of Diamond Dallas Page, who had a lot of injuries, was having a lot of troubles, blew his back out. He began his journey to figure out a way to heal himself. And when yoga was proposed to him, he kind of rolled his eyes like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to do yoga? He was a little more closed-minded back then than he is now. But eventually, he went through a lot of physical rehabilitation, some sports medicine doctors. Long story short, he finally tried the yoga. And what he realized is yoga was maybe making him more flexible, but it wasn't doing maybe some of the muscle work he needed done. So he introduced dynamic tension, or dynamic resistance as it's called. So basically, if you're just moving your arms like this, you're just moving your arms like that. But if you're moving your arms in such a fashion that you tighten all your muscles and you really strain as if you're pushing a 200-pound man off of you, and you just push it out like that, and every muscle in your forearm and bicep all tightens up, and your shoulders, your chest, you're inducing all these muscles into that. Not only are you strengthening, it's the same as lifting weights, but also because you're doing that, your heart rate lifts, and everything that he talks about, and this whole system that he has developed, scientifically works. It's not another fitness gimmick. It's not something that you're going to buy the DVD at Walmart, put it in, do it 3 times, and sit it on the shelf. It's a whole lifestyle change. Bought the system a little over a year ago. They had just rebranded it DDP Yoga, but the DVDs, actually, when you watch them, was still in his YRG studio, which when he first developed it, it was yoga for regular guys. So, injuries, laziness. One reason and another, I found excuse after excuse after excuse of why that envelope was still sitting on that shelf. Bring us back to present. I was at work about a couple weeks ago, and I just noticed my shirt's always kind of bulging out, you know, from the big baby, whatever that baby's doing, and then before you know it, it starts riding up a little bit. And when you walk past the women in the office, And they kind of make you look and say, well, pull your shirt down. We're all like family over there. But it's still kind of, you're like, oh, it's embarrassing. And again, I have taken a long spiritual journey. And I think one of my excuses, but I think this was a little more than an excuse, was I had to get myself mentally and spiritually and all that kind of in the right place before I could really focus on my body. And I feel like that's where I am now. Seems like since 2016 came about, all you hear about is who's dying. And 2 years ago, I left this off my list. I was rushed to the hospital when my heart went AFib. I developed atrial fibrillation. And what that basically is these chambers are beating normal, but these chambers up here are just kind of going. And not only is it bad because you're not pumping blood properly, but that blood will sit in your heart and start to coagulate. Next you know, you have giant clots in both chambers of your heart, or one chamber, depending on how yours is affected. I was having it in both chambers. So we're coming up on a 2-year point since that. The medication I'm on, I haven't had really any breakthroughs or anything with that. But as these last couple weeks have gone by, and I know I'm putting back on the weight, and I broke that 400-pound mark, then I broke the 410 mark, I was just feeling a little beat up. And I started thinking about the heart issues and the diabetes. 3 weeks ago, I developed diabetic foot ulcers on my left foot. Where did they come from? Well, when you eat a 8-cup bowl of Cocoa Pebbles for breakfast every morning, you're not helping your A1C. So with recounting my year, with hearing everybody's dying and getting sick, the foot sores showing up, the shirt creeping up, I really sat down, I meditated, and I had a long talk with myself and what I call my collective, my spiritual collective, and decided it was time to crack down. But something was different this time. When I said it this time, I meant it. I actually meant it. And I'm a little over 2 weeks now into DDP Yoga, and I'm doing it more than you're supposed to, because even though I'm 411 pounds and 6'4" and I have all these problems, I'm still strong and I'm still pretty flexible. So I surprised myself by being able to be a little more advanced than I thought I was going to be. So I'm trying to do more than just the 3 times a week. I'll do one of the bonus workouts in between. So this is the beginning of my journey. I wanted to make this video again. I'm not asking to be anybody's inspiration or guru. If along the way I become it, then so be it. But this video blog is kind of my video diary that I am willingly sharing with the world. And it's going to be life-changing for me, because through this I've seen the stories, I've read the articles, I've watched all the interviews, the transformation stories, and it's time. It's time, and it's time because I want it to be time. Because nothing's ever going to change until you decide it's time to change, and I've decided it's time to change. So DDP, for any reason you ever see this video, brother, thank you, man. Because I've tried it all. But this is the real deal, brother. This is it. So I want to thank you and all the work you guys put in. Steve, you, all of yous. Jake the Snake, Scott Hall, you guys were an inspiration. Arthur, of course, Jared, all of them. You guys are all awesome. God bless you. And I'll be checking in, making these videos here. I got a couple weeks before my 30-day weigh-in. And my plan is this. I'm going to do the 13 weeks of the beginner plan and phase 1 of the dietary plan, of the nutritional plan. I don't want to use that D word, the nutritional plan. The next 13 weeks, I'm moving to intermittent and why can't I say this word? I have 150 IQ. I can't say intermittent. The intermediate workout plan, and then phase 2 of the nutritional plan. And then finally, for the next 13 weeks, I'm going to be doing the advanced and then the phase 3, which is really where I want to be. I'm a firm believer in non-GMO. I'm a firm believer in organic, gluten-free, dairy-free. The gluten-free and dairy-free is going to be my biggest struggle. But we're going to get there with the support of my family and the support of all the wonderful people at Team DDP Yoga. I think it's going to happen. And just to finish this up, since I'm being so open and sharing so much, I lived most of my life doing what I had to do, doing the responsible thing, working every day, doing everything you're supposed to do. And when I met my wife, Eileen, my current wife, Eileen, her and her family are these incredible musicians. Her father is a master pianist. This man can play pieces that only like 3 other people on the planet are capable of playing properly. Her mother sits at a piano. You can draw dots on a paper and she'll look at it and be able to play it. She is a master accompanist. And my wife, she is the kind of third phase of the piano in that she has the ear. She can hear something and in a very short time be able to play that out on the piano. And she's a great teacher. She works with children, teaching music here. I'm actually in her waiting room filming this in our little basement studio here. My best friend growing up, he was a reader. He had such a passion for reading. And when I was sickly, when I was having my issues with my heart and my weight started to come back on, I was a little sad one day. I don't want to say depressed. I was just a little down one day. And I was speaking to my father-in-law, the pianist. And I said, I'm envious of people who are passionate about something. People who will have one aspect of their life that they never get bored of, they never get tired of, that brings them joy and happiness. I envy that. There is all the things I've done and all the things I've mastered in my life. I find something new, I work hard at it, I master it, and then I'm kind of like, on to the next thing. But I got to tell you, something is sparked in my heart. And right now, right here, I am setting a goal for myself. I am passionate about this, and I give glory to all above that have made me realize the passion I have for this. I am working hard at it. I'm working every day at it. I'm going to follow the plan. I'm going to stay on track. And my wife, Eileen, who is also a larger woman, has taken on this task with me. And I have actually been able to help her. I'm doing the exercises, I'm doing the routines, I'm seeing what DDP is telling me to do, I'm seeing the modifications. I am passing that on to her. Things she can't do, she can't get on her knees. She has real bad legs, she can't get down on her knees. I am actually instructing her on modifications. I'm actually helping her get through this. And what it made me realize is I do have a passion. I have a passion for this. So my goal, and I'm putting it down right now in this video diary, my very first episode, my goal is to, in 1 year, be down to a healthy weight to where I can do everything I used to do. Under 300 pounds is my goal within a year. And to get certified as a DDP Yoga Level 1 instructor. My goal in 5 years is to open up a small center where not only can the world be introduced to and enjoy the benefits of DDP Yoga, but we'd have other services there, energy work, you have, whatever it may be. We have host workshops there. We can bring in regular yoga instructors or, whatever. But this is important. What DDP is doing, and he's been doing this for several years now. This is nothing new. DDP Yoga has been around. I think he first really started to work on it in 2004, 2005. This is important, and it's important because he has a passion for this, and he knows how this is going to change lives, and it has already changed thousands of lives. And it's my turn, and I thank DDP and all the team who's worked on this for it, and I can't wait till it comes time that I can pass it forward. So I'll let you go with that. It was kind of long and lengthy, and I got choked up a couple times. But I love my family, and it's time. See you guys next time.